Hey guys, welcome to Coffee and a Vlog. I'm just going to show you real quick what we're going to be eating for supper. I'm going to be making some beef stew. So the very first thing that I'm going to do is I have my pan with some butter and some oil. Let me take this out. With some butter and some oil. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the stew meat and I'm going to put it in here. When you're making this kind of stew meat or any kind of stew meat, you always want to make sure to get the flavor, the most flavor that you can. You want to make sure that you cook it in here. We're going to make it golden brown around the edges. Now don't cook it completely, but we are going to look for that nice golden caramel brown. So we're going to do that, put that in there, and then while that is going, I'm just going to show you real quick what we have. We have some red onions. I have 4 potatoes. These I'm going to peel, and then I'm going to cut into big chunks. Everything I cut here is going to be big chunks. Then I have some sazon goya. You guys know that I love the con culantro y achiote. And then I have some onion powder, some chicken broth, which I'm using chicken broth. I don't have any like beef stock, so I'm just going to use the chicken broth for now. Some salt and some pepper. I have some fresh carrots, and then I have I don't know why I got red beans. That's not one of them. But I have some tomato paste, some Goya adobo, some garlic salt, and then this is the oil that I use, the Filippo organic extra virgin olive oil. And actually I was supposed to grab a thing of beans, or not beans, peas. So this is going to be actually green peas, not red beans. Okay, so I have this right here that is actually starting to get brown along the edges, as you guys can see. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, I couldn't do all of the meat because it's way too much. So I had to do about half. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move this around a little bit so that way I can get the other edges that aren't really brown. And again, we're not really cooking it all the way. It's not that big of a deal if you do. It's just you really don't want to yet because you still want it to be kind of like soft on the inside. So did that. Now I have my potatoes that I'm just gonna peel, cut them up into chunks, and then I'll get back after that. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to cut them up into chunks, and I just cut in half, and then in half. So kind of like fourths is how I'm going to do it, like this. And then I'm going to add some salt and some pepper. This is the second batch of meat, the stew meat that I have in here. So adding some pepper, some salt. Let me just stir this around. It's very important too that when you have stew meat, you don't just want to throw it in there. You want to separate the pieces just so that way it gets all the coating all over and they don't necessarily stick. And then I also take my sazon goya and I put it as well right after I put the salt and the pepper, and didn't really get all over, but just always mix this up. Mix it, let this cook probably for like another 2 to 3 minutes. And then I'm going to, well, I'll come on and I'll show you what I'm going to do after, but I will be taking it off. And remember that the potatoes, you want them to be cut like this. So you're going to cut them, and let me see. So from this right here, you're going to slice it. Then there's going to be 2 portions. You're going to do the same exact thing to both of those, and then you're just going to cut it down the middle. That's it. That's the big pieces, the big chunks. Okay guys, so now that I'm done with the meat, I'm going to take my vegetables and I'm going to throw them into this pan. I'm going to let them cook for about 5 minutes. Not all the way, but I do want them to get a little bit slightly cooked. So let me just dump these in here. And the reason I do all this is because it actually helps with the process time for cooking. It's not really too big. I just put that there. In the sink. Okay, so I have that. Then I'm going to take some salt. We want to add flavor. Again, the same flavors that we did with that one, but we're going to add a little bit more flavor. Add in some pepper. This is the onion powder. You guys should already know, by the way, like what are my favorite go-to seasonings. And then some regular garlic salt. And some Goya adobo, all-purpose seasoning. Yes, I put a lot. Because you just want it to definitely add to the flavors. And then add just a little bit more oil. Preference, totally preference right there for you guys. And then I'm going to try my best. Probably not the best pan to do this in, but I do want to kind of get all this like spices together in here. Like, mix it up. And then I'm going to cover this once I get to the way that I like. I'm going to cover this, and about 5 minutes I'm just going to let it kind of cook with the heat. Let me turn this up a little bit. So there you go. Cover it up, let it cook for just slightly a little bit, and then I'll come back to it once I think that it's good enough. By the way, real quick, I do want to show you the time. So right now it's 3:29 or 3:30. So I want to show you the time because when I make stew, this is about the time I make it. Just because I want it to be done by 7 o'clock. I want it to be all nice and soft, and so that way you can stick your fork in it. But you could totally do this where the night before you have everything prepped, everything together, put in the crock pot, turn it on to like a keep warm kind of setting, and then you can cook it once you wake up in the morning. So it'll be ready about this time. But 3:30 is usually when I start doing these kind of foods. So I put it in there, and then around 5 o'clock is when I usually start my nighttime routine of cleaning and eating and stuff like that. So. Okay, so as you can see now, it's not cooked all the way, but it is a lot darker. You can tell that it's starting to cook more. Now, what I am going to do, these actually want to get away, is I'm going to add some red wine vinegar to this. And I'm just going to cook this for about a minute. I'm going to just go around it. This adds flavor too. Now while I'm doing that, I'm going to turn on my crock pot to, we're going to do about a high. That to the side, this away. And then just stir it up a little bit more. Try to get as much vegetables bathed in the vinegar as possible. Alright, then from there I'm going to take and I'm going to dump it into my crock pot. Alright, and I'm going to dump all of this into my crock pot. And again, just try to mix it up. Okay, so now I have tomato paste I'm going to put into my veggies. Put the whole thing in. And then I'm going to stir it. Let me bring this over for you guys. Okay, so now I'm going to stir it. Try to definitely get everything all together. And then I'm going to add in my chicken broth. I didn't have any beef stock, so I have to use chicken, but honestly, it works. Dump all of this in. And then I'm going to once again mix all of this up. because now it actually like melts the paste. Okay, cleaned off the edges there. And then what I'm gonna do is dump in the meat, the peas, and then I'm going to let this cook for a couple of hours, and then I'll start my night routine. Okay guys, so this is what it looks like after, and I didn't think about it, but I made quinoa, or the super grains thing. Let me just show you real quick. I got it from Whole Foods, that thing right there, and I should have put it in with the stew, because it came out like really, when I did the quinoa, since I never made it before, it came out really salty. But since this stuff didn't really have a lot of salt, but it had more flavoring than anything, it really added a balance out. So I should have probably put it inside the stew, which is what I would suggest to do. But yeah, otherwise it came out really, really good. And definitely try to make this. This is good for when you're sick, for those cold nights. Like, it's been kind of cold in Florida, so this is really good for right now, but it's also good for when you're sick, especially the super greens. The super greens actually is really good to have when you're sick, because it gives a lot of nutrients and stuff. But hopefully you guys like this. And if you did, give it a thumbs up, like this video, comment down below if you want me to make any other videos. But thanks for watching, guys. Until next time, bye.